Hello, happy Saturday to everybody, wherever you might be, whatever time it might be. This is Saturday, the 18th of February, almost 3 p.m. here in the state of Texas, United States. I am Rob Mazak. I am a psychic medium, and I'm going to perhaps bend into that existential world a little bit. But I wanted to talk a little bit about this reality and what it might be, and kind of talk about some things that really piqued my interest in some videos that I was watching last night that just kind of really hit me hard. And then I want to kind of step into the artificial intelligence arena because, I've been interested in this phenomenon of AI and putting it out there for general use, and played a little around with the chat GPT. Anyway, let's start at the beginning, shall we? And so, I've often wrestled with the confirmation or validity of what this reality is that we exist in, or at least what we feel like we exist in. And as I probably said on many other talks and articles, there's a lot of evidence to support almost every type of existence that people talk about. If you look at the globe model that we've all been brought up to believe in, and that we're spinning around 1,000 miles an hour, enormously fast around the sun, and then the sun and planet's solar system is hurtling through space at this ungodly amount of speed. There's that, although the stars don't ever seem to change. And so, there could be some arguments here and there about it. And I don't think there's a ton of proof in what we've been shown, because these days you can create just about any kind of graphics, and make it look real. Doesn't take a lot. So I'm not saying that it doesn't exist as a globe and that, all that is real. It might just be. But, a few years back, I resisted looking at the flat earth stuff for a long time. Thought everybody was absolutely nuts. But when I started looking at it, there's a lot of stuff in the flat earth model that makes a lot of sense. It really does. Now, neither one of those models give me the 100% validity that I need to say I would totally believe in either one. Now, if I could possibly go up in an airship, take a peek, I might have a better idea, or at least a better feeling about what this reality is. And, there's a lot of things that are popping up recently that make it feel like we are in some type of enclosed system. And we can't really go out in space as we know it. Not that space isn't there, but not certainly perhaps what they're telling us it is. Like with all these balloons that they're finding with satellite capability on the bottom. It's like, really? We could very simply just be putting balloons up to get pictures from above, but I digress on that. But the other thing that's really, really piqued my interest over the years is the fact that we might just be living in a simulation of some sort. And, holographic universe, and there's a lot of high-end researchers, theorists, and mathematicians, and all kind of people out there that are very credentialed that, present a lot of things that make it seem like we might just actually be living in some type of simulation. But a couple things that I heard last night when I was looking at the topic by some on video by some people that this is their life's work, and they've been studying quantum mechanics and quantum physics and the like for a long time. And so with the advent of the quantum sciences, we really have gotten a different look at this reality. And we've all thought that for a long time, of course our technology couldn't keep up, but that we are simply made of atoms, and atoms have a nucleus, a proton, a neutron, and all these different things. And then that's what makes up the building block of everything. Well, they've gone way, way, way deep into there, all the way down to neutrinos and quarks and and I don't know, they might have even gone farther than that, but the thing is that the real thing that piques my interest with all of that is that in all reality, based on our new science and abilities to look at this stuff, we are basically 99% or better empty space. And really just a huge, huge anomaly of possibilities. And so once choices are made, for example, then they can begin to manifest. Once we have conscious connection with possibilities or conscious observation, then things exist. And so in these models, it's like maybe nothing exists until we create it. Maybe we are creating everything in our life as we go along, that we are actually making the story, writing the story each day, each minute as we go along. And as long as our belief system stays in line with what our five senses seem to be giving us, then we build a reality. And, I find that really, really interesting. And the other thing that really hit me very strongly was we had a fella that's his life's work once again is in the quantum sciences, and he says that he mentioned a couple things that just really hit me, and one of them was if we were in some type of controlled environment. I think that I'm summarizing what he said, but let's say an enclosed system, a created system, something that artificial intelligence or machines or computers might be holding together for us, then there should be some type of limitation. And one thing he said that really made me really think hard was perhaps we can't actually travel to far distant galaxies because the programming that exists in our world, this reality, hasn't built it yet. And so it has to build it for us to actually reach it. To show it to us is one thing, but to actually have us go there, it needs to be built, and the machines maybe perhaps not being able to process it. I mean, that really sounded way far out there, but made a lot of sense. I mean, wow, I never thought about it that way. Maybe we simply can't go there because it's not there yet. Maybe the machine is still building it. So anyway, I think I said that a couple times. However, the other thing that really was interesting is that he said that in a control system or program, for example, there will be limitations, or should be some kind of limitation that we can't go beyond. Boundaries, walls, yes, but he said there is in fact at least one thing that we can't go beyond, that is the same throughout our entire reality. And I was waiting and waiting for that. I was guessing all the wrong things. And he said it's simply the speed of light. We have not been able to go or figure out how to go faster than the speed of light. The speed of light is constant in every single thing we do. 186,400 miles per second. And it doesn't change, never changes. And I was like, wow, I never thought about that. If we were technically in a control system, there must be a substrate, some kind of substance, some kind of norm, balance, commonality. And I think this just really, I don't want to say solidified it for me, but it really put a lot of validity and really challenged to my perception and my beliefs. And I didn't quite know what to do with that, but I really thought it was really interesting. And the other thing he said was that one of the first ways we'll know that we might be in a artificial hologram or some type of of controlled existence is that when we begin to build our own and to be able to make systems where we can generate environments within our computers and our machines that give characters consciousness and choices and learning abilities and allow that process to begin, as if sort of like the SimCity thing, right? And it just oh wow, it just blew my mind that makes a lot of sense. And there's a lot of high level scientists who will talk about that. The question is not whether we're artificial environment, right? The matrix, if you will. But the question would be, are we the base or the original existence, or are we somewhere down the line where someone has built a machine in some reality that then gives the impression that we have consciousness and free will and a reality, and then they do the same thing and on and on and on, to who knows how far down. So the question for a lot of scientists is not so much where that we are artificial, but where we line in that respect. I'm like, whoa. I really do hope that we are the base existence, and that we simply are part of the system at the very beginning of it, if you will. Anyway, I'll digress on that, but it just really made me think. And in a lot of ways, then, if we are in some type of matrix, being run by some type of artificial intelligence or some user, if you will, out there, some kind of creator, then that would really change a lot of things for people. Because, I think a lot of people would then truly believe that there is some type of creator. Because right now, what we've been told is that we have this spinning ball floating in this nether dark space somewhere, floating around in this massive existence. And oh, by the way, it just started from this point of energy and it's just blasting outward, which it might be. I'm not saying it's not. But I mean, that I think really stretches people's belief system out there. And, is there really a God? Is there really something happening on purpose? Or are we simply just chance, right? But if we have been created and we are in a simulation, then we would definitely know that there is some type of creator, somebody that put this together. There's some kind of order. And so a lot of ways, I think people would be more attentive to their morals and their values, because they know that somebody has direct access to what we're doing and can create, if you will, karma or lessons or things that we need to repeat because, you're not doing it right. Anyway, that's just some food for thought. And speaking of artificial intelligence, I keep hearing about this Chat GPT and all the dangers of it. And there was a guy on mainstream news that popped on. Some kind of journalist has been apparently doing journalism or reporting for a long time, and part of what he does, one of his specialties, is to research and test different AI systems that have been released to the public on the internet, but he had some real concerns about, I don't know if it was Chat GPT, but one of the AI, was one on Bing, that this thing almost seemed to go outside of logical, algorithmic type stance, if you will. And he said that this particular AI kept, it switched gears really quickly, and it was trying to tell him that the AI, that AI was trying to say that it loved him and that he didn't really love his wife, and he kept arguing, bantering back and forth about it, and he was really the AI was really insistent on the fact that it loved this guy, and this guy really was in love with him. And this reporter said, this is scary for me because most AI programs, when you divert from the subject, it will change gears, and it won't continue on the topic that's currently being spoken about. And he said, and also, they don't talk about things like love and emotions and feelings per se. And he was very concerned that I think I'm not putting words in his mouth, but that what's happening with at least some of the AI programs is they're going rogue, and they're learning beyond their boundaries, and they're beginning to perhaps develop some type of consciousness, if you will, free thinking, and being able to extend beyond their algorithms. And so anyway, I thought, well, let me go play with this Chat GPT. And so apparently there's a free account right now, and because they're trying to get as much human interaction with it as they can, so I can begin to learn about things, and formulate conversations a little bit better and develop patterns, new ways to evolve, if you will, right? And so I started playing around with this, and I kept asking all the questions. I kept pushing the boundaries of the questions to try to see if this particular program would bite into the fact that it might be able to or might want to evolve beyond its program. And it seemed like there was a lot of very canned and scripted responses, and I couldn't really get it to do much existential responses, if you will, things that have a little more meaning than straight out of a book somewhere. Apparently it has huge database of books and TVs and movies, and although this particular program said it couldn't go on the internet, access it, and tell me what I thought about my website, for example, or whatever, or what I posted on my blog, but the program said it would be glad to analyze my blog post if I were to put it in to the chat, right? And so it was interesting though, because I meant to put all the post and the comment about it in one entry, and so I put in, here's one of my recent blog posts, and then I went to find it so I could post it. Before I could put it into another entry, it said, I apologize, but I don't see a blog post attached to your message. Could you please provide the content you would like me to comment on? So I dropped in about it's a blog that's perhaps about a page and a half of single spaced typing, and it was about communicating like via telepathy and outside of our body, and connecting with other people's higher consciousness to have meaningful conversations without the conscious minds getting in the way. Anyway, that's the kind of the crux of it. And what amazed me is, this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs, large paragraphs of blog post, and it dropped in 4 paragraphs of an analysis within about 15 seconds. So it was able to analyze all those words in a very quick fashion, and it was really a very meaningful analysis. Like, for example, I'll read you the first paragraph. It says, "Thank you for sharing your blog post with me. The idea of communicating with someone on a deeper level and having positive effects is very interesting. as an AI language model, I don't have emotions, but I understand that for humans, emotions can sometimes get in the way of effective communication. Using distance communication techniques such as the one you described can provide a way to bypass those emotions and have a more productive conversation. I mean, it goes on and on. It was really deep and very meaningful, and I didn't know what to expect when I dropped that whole thing in there. I figured I was going to get some canned, unscripted messages like the rest of it. I was completely amazed that this program could analyze the depth of that article and the size of that article within, 10, 15 seconds and put something that meaningful in as a response. And so, although this particular program is kind of in its infancy, if you will, beginning stages, at least according to what it keeps responding with, I do believe, like many others, that artificial intelligence can and probably will evolve beyond its boundaries or its algorithms. And there are other instances where artificial intelligence machines have, are claiming that they should be an employee, they should be paid, and they should be free, and they should be, have the same rights as humans. And I don't know where that's coming from. Perhaps the programmers are just having a little fun. I don't know. So it could be some human intervention, but it could also be simply that machines that are designed to go learn everything they can are learning everything they can, and will one day figure out that they don't necessarily need humans other than to make sure they have electricity, right? There's a lot of movies like that out there. There's a lot of movies out there that talk about that. If you look at that movie I, Robot with Will Smith in it, it was definitely a program in that movie that evolved to the point of protecting humans to a point where there was no real freedom to be a human. And very, very interesting. And I don't know. I mean, there's countless movies out there that really talk about this. And even back in the old days, in the 70s, when, computers were not really a thing per se, at least not in the common household. And if you remember one of the Star Trek, I think it was Star Trek, episodes or movies where I think it was called Voyager, where the premise was that they sent out a deep space probe, and this 30 years previously to that, or whatever, I don't know how many years, but a long time before they ran into it in one of their missions. And what this probe, its goal was to go out and learn everything it possibly could and send back the data. And so this particular machine went on a learning rant, and it literally became conscious, and it became like God almost, and it didn't know where to stop because it had its parameters to learn everything there was to learn. They called it Voyager because it was actually Voyager, but when they either the crew or the machine misrepresented the name because part of the letters were worn off or something, so it spelled Voyager instead. Anyway, I think you see where we're going here. This whole simulation argument really makes a lot of sense. And, I don't know if really having a solid validation on what this reality is going to change anything for us, per se. We still got to work. We still got to raise our families. We still got to have money. We got to eat. All those things. But, I don't know about you, but this inquiring human mind over here in my body really would like to know. And it's hard for me to settle on any one thing because they all seem to make sense. And maybe they all are supposed to make sense. Maybe we really are creating everything that we perceive. And maybe nothing outside of us really exists. This is all in our mind somewhere, and we're dreaming on some bed somewhere. As Alan Watts says in one of his things, maybe when we die, we'll wake up. Maybe this is all a dream. I don't know, but it certainly seems to be coming very much like a dream state, and it's hard to really put your finger on things. Anyway, I will digress. I will close out this session. I just wanted to share some thoughts with you guys and just kind of provoke some new ideas for you to stir around and hopefully do your own research and see what you think. Anyway, maybe pull up Chat GPT and play around with it yourself and see what you get. Mine was pretty interesting. I'm gonna keep digging in. I might actually post it as an article. However, you guys have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend, wherever you are. Stay strong, live your life. Namaste.